Hello everyone, welcome back to Krishna's lecture. We have 5 units in 12th bio textbook, and before the beginning of each unit we have the name of the scientist and his works being described. So obviously biology, NEET, whatever questions are going to come, it would be directly from NCERT and it would not be from any other book. There are a lot of people who are like not very sure whether to read about the scientists or not, and they don't know what to read. So that is why this video is being made. So first scientist whom we have is Pachanan Maheshwari. We'll talk about whatever he has done. We will just see, and what is important for us for NEET, we will just only see that. Obviously, if you see whatever I have written, these are the points that you have to know. Nothing more than this. If you see, you have so much description being given that Pachanan Maheshwari was told by his teacher that if his students learnt more than him in the subject, he would be very happy. So that inspired Pachanan Maheshwari to take up botany and study more about it. We will not go about all these things because this is not actually important, and I don't think there could be any questions asked on it. We don't need to know when he was born, to which university he went, all of those. So he is a botanist, and the thing is, we are going to study about each scientist in these following points. First point is, we will study if he is a botanist or a zoologist. Then we will study the awards the scientist has won, and then the work of the scientist, and then most important point to remember about the scientist. Okay, these are the 4 headings under which we are going to study each scientist. Now we have Pachanan Maheshwari. Obviously we are going to follow those 4 headings. He is a botanist. He has been awarded fellowship by Royal Society of London. He has been awarded by Indian National Academy. Okay, he is from Rajasthan. These are his work. So his work we can for our convenience can classify into 2 parts, and the most important point to remember is, for higher secondary school, when NEET biology textbook was being written, he was the first person. He, under his leadership only, this NCERT biology textbook for higher secondary school was written. And another question is, you could be asked question on his work. So we will study what is his work and how to remember it easily. The thing is, I have written here, he popularized the use of embryological characteristics in taxonomy. The second point is, all of these things will come: test tube fertilization, intra-ovarian pollination, need for artificial culture of immature embryo. I'm not going into double fertilization and all. I'm just drawing the female reproductive part of the of the plant. Reproductive part of the plant is flower, so we are writing the female part of the flower, that is ovary, stylus and stigma. So here we have ovary, we have all this double fertilization, egg. I mean, don't go into the detail, just know this. We have pollen grains here. It is a bisexual flower. So we have here pollen grains. Pollen grains will fall here, and then one pollen grain will go here, like pollen grains go, and there is going to be fusion. There is double fertilization in the flowering plants or the angiosperms. That is all we are concerned about. Okay, so what is this embryological characteristics in taxonomy? The thing is, when we say taxonomy, it is all concerned with classification of the organism. When we say taxa, you would have seen the video which we have made on the first chapter of NCERT 11th standard, that is the living world, we have a term called taxa. We have the species, genus, family, like that it goes up to kingdom. So species is a taxa, genus is a taxa, family is a taxa, like that it goes on. So the thing is, embryological characteristics in taxonomy means what? It is just this, that when we classify the organisms, we are going to take into consideration the characteristic features of the organisms. Among the features, we can consider the morphological features, anything, genetic, everything. In that way, we can consider embryological characteristics also. So what did Pachanan Maheshwari do? While classifying the organisms according to the taxa or the taxonomical hierarchy, he gave importance to embryological features. That's all. The second group of his work include test tube fertilization, intra-ovarian pollination, and need for artificial culture of immature embryo. Remember, he is a botanist. Whatever he has done, all these things are all in plants. Suppose we take humans into the picture. What do? We humans, we have male and female gametes. If there are infertile couples, we will take the sperm, we will take the ovum, fuse both of them in the lab in vitro. We fuse them in vitro, and then we are going to keep the zygote. Zygote becomes embryo. When it reaches 6-celled stage, that is when the embryo is going to be put back in the uterus. The same thing if translated to plant, it is just this, that the pollen grains were taken and fused with the ovary. How and where? Intra-ovarian, inside the ovary. So I drew the picture of ovary, style and stigma. So stigma is the platform, the landing platform for the pollen grains. So this is the style and this is the ovary. So he took pollen grains and he took the pollen grains and made it a point that inside the ovary only the fusion happens. So test tube fertilization means what? Test tube fertilization means taking the ovary of the plant and the pollen grains, fusing them in the lab. That is test tube fertilization. If done in case of humans, we call it test tube baby. Okay. Need for artificial culture of immature embryo. Obviously, when you have, say, and this male and female gamete that we are talking about, say pollen grains and ovary, or male gamete and female gamete, when we have it, they will fuse and there is fertilization that is happening. Fertilization will give rise to what? It will give rise to zygote. Zygote will not be just there like that, it will become an embryo. So after it becomes an embryo, at a certain stage only we are going to keep it back, once it becomes mature. So until the embryo becomes mature, we cannot put it back inside the female body. So we need artificial medium. So he has worked on all of these things. So this is all about Pachanan Maheshwari. Thank you.